In today's episode of Dear Influencers, what is wrong with you guys? We talk about how one of the largest influencers in Africa allegedly married a fan to scam him and got away with roughly $2 million. And I want to put a massive disclaimer here saying that all the charges that we're talking about today are just accusations and the defendant is innocent until proven guilty in court. But who's this person and what are the allegations? Well, meet Mona Faiz Montrage, who's at the center of this entire story. She's one of the largest Ghanaian influencers known as Hajia for Real on Instagram. Now, other than being an alleged scammer, she's also a musician known as Mona for Real. She also owns a makeup company by the name of For Real Beauty, and she also owns a record label known as For Real Entertainment, and an event company that I couldn't find the name of, but I can only assume it's called For Real Events. So the question is, why would she need to run the companies For Real Scams and For Real Fraud? Those are jokes. Those are not real companies. But the point stands. Why would she need to do this? It always amazes me when people who seemingly have great avenues to make money end up doing stuff like this to make some extra money, especially when they preach the whole typical girl boss, make your own money, don't rely on no man. Because in an interview when she was asked, do you have a message for your fans? This is what she had to say.
All I have to say is keep loving me, keep supporting me, and keep loving the content and everything I give you guys. And don't forget to pray, no matter what you do, put your prayers first, work hard, especially the ladies, work hard, be determined and focused so that they won't come and say you're spending any man's money, so that no man can sit on your happiness as well. So yeah.
Well, I guess the only man sitting on your happiness now is the US government. That's what happens when you allegedly scam people. But definitely a weird segment for her. Keep loving me. Keep supporting me. Keep loving the content. How about you just provide value for your audience rather than allegedly scamming elderly, lonely men? Then that would come naturally without you having to beg for it. And I say that because it's now been alleged that she was marrying older men to scam them for money. So there's a lot to take in today's video. But to start everything off, a US attorney by the name of Damian Williams said, as alleged, Mona Faiz Montrage was a member of a criminal conspiracy that specifically targeted older Americans with romance scams. These scams can be both financially and emotionally devastating for vulnerable victims. Thanks to the efforts of her law enforcement partners, Montrage was arrested abroad and has been brought to the United States to face justice because she was arrested in London and extradited to the US. But after doing hours of research on Mona, going through countless of her past interviews, I quickly found out that she was kind of insecure about the questions coming her way when people were asking, hey, by the way, what do you do for a living? How do you make your money? Because this was apparently an interview question that came up a lot because the people of Ghana saw this wild lifestyle, but she didn't really have this music career to back up the lavish lifestyle she was living. And there's even been speculations of her doing fraud and scamming people in the past, as a talk show in Ghana called Street is Watching revealed that she had a previous arrest for this exact thing.
From last year's 10th November, when she was on her way back from UK, Ghana Music Awards, we got reports that she was arrested at Heathrow International Airport, where the international police, they got the signal from her spending. That is what they are saying, quote and unquote. It's been alleged that it was due to her high level of spending that attracted attention, because she's been on the radar. They claim that she's been on the radar for cases of fraud and scamming and all that. She's been on the radar for a bit.
So now with that in mind, the United States Attorney's Office of the District of New York released the press release for her arrest. And man, it is a trip. Because here it says Mona Faiz Montrage received over $2 million in fraud proceeds and pretended to marry one victim to further the fraud scheme. So the FBI announced the unsettling of a 6-count indictment charging Mona Faiz Montrage for her role in a series of romance schemes for laundering the proceeds of those schemes. Montrage was arrested in the United Kingdom on November 10, 2022, and was extradited from the United Kingdom May 12, 2023. Montrage will present before the U.S. District Judge Paul A. Crotty, to whom the case is assigned later today. An FBI assistant director said, "We allege today that Ms. Montrage participated in multiple romance scams, often targeting elderly victims, resulting in more than $2 million in fraudulent funds under her control. Romance scams, especially those who target older individuals, are a major concern. The FBI will be tireless in our efforts to hold fraudsters accountable in the criminal justice system." As alleged in the indictment and other publicly filed materials, from at least in or about 2013 through in or about 2019, Montrage was a member of a criminal enterprise, the enterprise based in West Africa that committed a series of frauds against individuals and businesses in the United States, including romance scams. Many of the enterprise's romance scams victims were vulnerable older men and women who lived alone. The enterprise frequently conducted the romance scams by sending the victims emails, text messages, and social media messages that deceived the victims into believing believing they were in a romantic relationship with a person who had in fact a fake identity assumed by members of the enterprise. Once members of the enterprise had successfully convinced victims that they were in a romantic relationship and gained their trust, they convinced the victims under false pretenses to transfer money to bank accounts the victims believed were controlled by their romantic interests, when in fact the bank accounts were controlled by members of the enterprise. Montrage, a Ghanaian public figure who rose to fame as an influencer through her Instagram profile under the username Hajia for Real, which at one point had approximately 3.4 million Instagram followers, was among the top 10 profiles with the most followers in Ghana. I think she now has like 4.2 million followers as well. So she's grown since then. Montrage received money from several victims of romance frauds who members of the enterprise tricked into sending money. Among the false pretenses used to induce victims to send money to Montrage were payments to transport gold to the United States from overseas, payments to resolve a fake FBI unemployment investigation, and payments to assist a fake United States Army officer in receiving funds from Afghanistan. It's always interesting to see what's going on behind the scenes of these ultra materialistic Instagram pages with millions of followers who are just flexing left and right, and you're kind of sitting there like, where's this person getting all this money from? Well, allegedly a chunk of it was from antics like this. Yikes. As to one victim, Montrage used her real name and spoke to the victim several times by phone. Montrage sent the victim a tribal marriage certificate purporting to show that Montrage and the victim had been married in Ghana. The victim sent Montrage approximately 82 wire transfers totaling approximately $89,000 to purportedly to purportedly help the costs associated with Montrage's father's farm in Ghana. In total, Montrage controlled bank accounts that received over $2 million in fraudulent funds from the enterprise. Montrage, 30 of Accra, Ghana, is charged with 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud, 1 count of wire fraud, 1 count of money laundering conspiracy, and 1 count of money laundering. Each will carry a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. Montrage is also charged with 1 count of receipt of stolen money, which carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison, and 1 count of conspiracy to receive stolen money, which carries a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison. The maximum potential sentences are prescribed by Congress and are provided here for informal purposes only, as any sentencing of Montrage will be determined by a judge. Okay, so it's safe to say that she's gotten herself in some hot water here. I searched around for a response, and there is a video going around saying that she has responded to this, which is this video right here.
Say what?
That's not real.
People, I miss you so much, and I know you miss me too. Thank you so much for your prayers. I really appreciate it. I love you all.
I hope that's not her response. That can't be her real response. No, there's no way. I mean, while that's funny, it can't be her response because to my knowledge, she hasn't been bailed out as of this recording yet. But the amount of interviews she has where she's essentially just accrediting all of her success to her hard work makes all of this even funnier.
I just think they have to work harder. That's it. Just keep working hard.
Are they not working hard enough?
They are working hard enough, but they have to work harder. I mean, there's always room for improvement. So
what are you doing to change this narrative, this perception?
I'm just doing more now. I'm doing me.
And allegedly, a little scamming on the side. She also said nothing can stop her.
Sometimes what people say, it's sometimes a bit like even though you not let it get to you, but sometimes no, you feel some type of way, but hey, you have to keep like working hard, and then that's it. Apart from that, yeah, like nothing is stopping me.
Except the US government after you allegedly scammed $2 million. But I mean, hey, at least she got her wish because she really wanted the public to see who she really is.
Just want the public to know me for who I am, to see how hard I work, and to inspire the youth.
Thank you, Mona. Very inspiring. And again, when she was pushed on what she really does for a living, she gave this weird response.
My followers, they love me for who I am. They love me for what I do, and I love them too. And they should just stay tuned. And I have so much to give them, so much content. They love me for who I am.
She might have girl bossed a little bit too close to the US government reach. If there's a takeaway, don't scam people. It can really ruin your own freedom. Not to mention ruin the lives of other people. But hey, if you only care about yourself, which seems like she kind of does, it could really ruin your freedom. But speaking of scamming, this woman scammed her entire family and she thought she got away with it, but she didn't, thankfully. And this story is just absolutely wild and I would recommend checking it out. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.